we are, tier 3, top notch. So now we're going to get into dynamic movement. Okay, that means essentially harder shit. So here you are, you're going to sweat a little bit more. Now we're going to go through 3 exercises, much like we did in the previous video, in the previous tier. And you're going to go through these 2 or 3 times, again, just like the previous tier, on your own, dependent upon what your abilities are and how you're feeling. Now, I'm going to go through one time with you to give you an exact feel for how long each movement and how long each hold may take, or what the reps can consist of. And of course, I'm going to guide you through that. So the first one, again, we're in this kneeling position. We've been here a lot today, and we've progressed into different things in this position. First we were stretching, then we were pulling the heel. Now we're going to lift this back knee to hover above the ground. So we've gotten a little bit more challenging in this position, okay, purposefully. So now I'm in this kneeling position, as I already mentioned. What I'm going to try to do here is maintain this front foot being flat. And I'm thinking about having a strong arch in this foot. So my toes are really gripping the ground. I'm not allowing my ankle to collapse inward like so. So you want to be mindful of not allowing the ankle to collapse or the knee to collapse inward. We want the knee to stay just above the ankle to stay nice and stable, toes gripping. Now from here, I'm going to squeeze this right glute. I'm going to brace my abs, much like we've talked about earlier. And I'm going to lift and hover this back knee off the ground. Okay. Now this is a hold, so it's not dynamic, but it's extremely challenging. We're trying to strengthen this front glute or front thigh here and front glute. So my left glute, not to say that you're not going to be feeling the back leg, but we're really trying to emphasize this front leg. So I'm locked and loaded. I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to lift, and I'm hovering. Notice my chest stays nice and upright. I'm working to stabilize this forward foot. Wiggling is okay, that's going to happen. That's stability. Working in stability exercises means you're going to have to fight to maintain that stability. And fighting and working means there's going to be a little bit of movement and shifting. Now, your goal is 30 seconds to a minute of this. It will burn like hell, and that's okay. You're here to work. You're at the 3rd tier. This is where it gets really spicy. So I'm working. I'm almost at a minute. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Woo! Okay, much warmer. Now we're going to go to the other side. Take a couple breaths in between. You know, there's no rush going immediately from one side to the other. You could take a second or so before you start the other side. For time's sake, I'm not going to wait very long. So now, again, bracing the abs, squeezing my left glute now. I'm going to lift and hover my left knee off the ground, really working my right glute and right thigh. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, lift and hover. I'm breathing. Pushing my right foot through the floor, my forward foot pushing straight through the ground, trying to work this glute and this thigh to hold myself up. I got 30 more seconds. See if I can do it. Ten. 3, 2, 1. Oh, burning. Both thighs are working a lot there, okay? It's not just the forward thigh and glute. My back leg is working a lot as well. And of course, because it was the leg that went first before, it's already a little bit fatigued by being the one that you were holding out in front of you before that. Okay, that's exercise 1. Remember, do whatever is appropriate for you. Maybe it's 15 seconds. It doesn't have to be a minute. Okay, listen to your body. Play with it. Now the next one, we're going to come to a standing position. And we're going to balance here. So we're working on balancing. So choose one foot that you're going to stand on. Again, like I talked about earlier, with the foot and ankle stability, is you're working really hard to keep the foot stable and gripping the ground with the toes. So your ankles are going to wiggle, but do your best to keep them stable, okay? Now you're going to balance on that left foot. I'm going to bring my right foot out in front of me so the heel is on the ground. Now what I'm considering is the leg that I'm balancing on, which is my left leg right now, is going to maintain completely straight and engaged. So my knee is not bending on my left side. And as I keep that leg straight, my left glute is staying locked and loaded here. Now from there, maintaining this left leg stability and straightness, I'm going to drive my right knee up as high as I can. Come back down. Very slowly, tap the heel, and repeat. Inhaling up, exhaling down. As you do this, it's also important to maintain your shoulder posture. You may notice my shoulder blades are back, my gaze is straight ahead. I'm keeping my upper body posture as I drive that knee up as high as I can. It's really easy to bring the knee up, lower the chest down to it. That's not the point though. The knee just goes as high as it can. So I did 10 on that side, now I'm going to do 10 on the other. My right foot is the one I'm balancing on, my right leg. Left heel is out in front of me on the ground. Chest up tall. My right glute is locked. Inhale the knee up. Exhale down. It's actually quite hard keeping the back knee, my right leg, completely straight. The knee wants to bend. Okay, that's a compensation for bringing this left knee as high as I can. Your goal is to keep that leg straight as possible. What you may have just noticed there, look, I'm wiggling. I might fall down here and there. It's okay, you're just practicing balance, okay? Balance is never 100% game. You're never going to completely balance perfectly. Only Olympic gymnasts do that, and you're not that yet, quite yet. So just play with it, okay? As I said earlier, play with the movement. If you lose your balance, don't worry. Start again. Not aiming for perfection here. So that was exercise number 2, where we're working on the balance and the dynamic lift of that knee and hip. Now, this is going to be the last exercise, and it's actually going to incorporate upper body. Okay, so it's going to be a dynamic movement for the shoulders. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get into a plank position where you're on your hands and toes, or essentially a push-up position. Now in this position, which can be in itself very hard for many of you, you're going to focus on keeping your elbows as straight as possible. Now as I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push my head back towards my toes into down dog, which is a yoga hold, yoga pose. So my head is reaching back in between my arms and shoulders. My legs are staying as straight as possible. And then I'm going to shift back forward. Back to over my hands in the push-up position. Shift back. And shift forward. I would recommend inhaling back. Exhaling forward. I'm going to do 10 of these. Shoulders are going to get real warm for all you guys. Now, if you have any shoulder issues or you're really tight in your shoulders, you don't have to go back as far as I did. You could just shift back a little bit, shift forward, shift back, shift forward. You're just working your way into this really open shoulder position. And I promise you, over time, you're going to get much, much more mobile and open in that. And eventually, we will also talk about shoulder mobility as far as soft tissue and stretching goes. We just haven't gotten there yet. So you're doing 10 of those. Okay, so I just showed you 3 exercises. First is the low lunge hold, where your back knee is hovering off the ground, working really hard in that one. The legs are going to feel super worked. And judge that. It could be anywhere from 10 seconds a leg to a minute a leg. After that, you're doing the balancing on one foot with the dynamic knee lift, hip flexion. You're going to do 10 to maybe 15 each side on that if you feel appropriate. And then the third one is going to be the push-up position to the down dog. Okay, and you can do that 10 to 15 times as well. As I mentioned earlier, go through 2 to 3 times. Okay, I showed you 1 time around. Probably be best to do at least 1 more, and then if you're going for extra credit, do that 3rd set. And you've just completed tier 3 of this first Patreon video, the first release of this Patreon series for the Thai way. And I am Tyler, so I appreciate you following me through this video and through these previous 2 videos as well. So I hope to see you next week, because we're going to come out with 2 more. See you guys.